Hello and welcome to today's Countryfile.
Today we're on the south of Dartmoor, near a small hamlet called Owley.
Exploring the Glazebrook.
Here I am standing beneath an ancient rowan tree. Rowan trees have been used for generations for their magical properties. For example, the wood is often used in wands and magical staffs. Also, the berries can be used to make rowan berry jam and have medical properties.
We're currently standing in an oak tree that has suffered a common disease spreading through Western Europe called sudden oak death. This means that the tree just dies randomly from a lichen that's been growing up its trunk.
This here is old man's beard. It's a very rare type of lichen and it's only found in Dartmoor. Therefore, you can't pull this kind of stuff off trees, so it's quite endangered.
As we wandered through the Devonshire countryside, we came across one of Britain's most spectacular creatures, the tawny owl. With around 50,000 breeding pairs in the UK, it's a real treat to see one this close. Tawny owls typically live to around 5 years of age in the wild, but much older ones have been found. Having spent a moment enjoying the beauty of the wildlife in Devon, we now went out on search of ancient history on the moor.
This here is what's known as the blowing house. These small tin huts would have been used when people mined tin from the East Glaze here, and they would have got the crushed up rock containing the tin and put it in a furnace. The furnace would have been powered by a water wheel, which would be located just that side of the wall, powered by a leak taken from this stream. That would power bellows to make the furnace very hot and melt down the tin. The tin would then be poured as a molten state. This mould here, which as you can see is in the shape of a tin ingot. That would have been cooled and just before it was completely solid, stamped with the mark of the name of where it was made and for what company. So then the tin ingots would have been shipped away and taken downstream. Some of them would have also been stored in old potato caves.
Now we'll be heading towards the beehive. We're currently standing in a hut that the people making the tin used to keep bees, so they could have some luxuries such as honey. It used to be a large hut filled with different hives where the bees could be kept safe.
This plant here is called sorrel, and the leaves are edible. They taste like zesty and lemony. They're really quite nice. And these are the kind of foods that our ancient ancestors in the Iron Age would have been eating.
Fire lighting is currently illegal under the National Park regulations on Dartmoor, yet people still do it, which causes a real issue in the surrounding area. So, while camping is allowed on Dartmoor, it's one of the few national parks that allow that in the country. You can come up here and camp without permission. However, what isn't allowed are wildfires. For example here, a wildfire has quite clearly been started and it's not good for the environment. If it's done on peat, it can cause it to explode because the peat can get too hot and eventually cause a massive wildfire.
Due to horrible English weather, the rain and the snow, people in South Brenton decided to put bird boxes up in trees so as to give the birds a place to live without being exposed to the elements. This is one example of these bird boxes.
We're now heading to an ancient Dartmoor longhouse. However, this one is different by the fact that it's beautifully preserved in an ancient wood oakland. I'm now stood in one of the best preserved Dartmoor longhouses on Dartmoor. These houses would have contained livestock and a family. The livestock would have been on the lower level, whilst the family would have lived on the upper second floor. The livestock would have kept the family warm with the heat from their bodies rising up and basically providing us underfloor heating for the family above.
So here by the Glazebrook, you can see a pile of old rubble, which is actually old tin workings. As we saw earlier with the tin ingots down there, tin was mined here and taken down there. At first they thought there was an exponential amount of tin there, but then they realised there wasn't as much, which is why it's only a very small tin working.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're currently standing at Glazebrook Corner, where behind me you can see a stone road that runs from over there down here. And an organisation in South Brent called Sustainable South Brent has been in charge of clearing the stone road so that people can enjoy it and so it doesn't fall into disrepair. People come up and they dig the gorse away from the stone row and put it in big piles where they set it on fire. But you have to alert the fire people first, otherwise you'll set fire to the moors.
Having explored the Owley area of South Dartmoor, we then proceeded to take a well-earned dip in the Glazebrook.